Coming everyone on this gloomy Sunday morning. Appreciate it. My name's Sam Warden. I work for Sustainably, but I'm also a member of Midvale. Been here a couple of years now, and excited to share a little bit more about Sustainably, my workplace. This is my colleague Lorenza Zabel, who's going to be telling us more about low waste lifestyle tips from recycling, composting, and then also, if you didn't know, Midvale is a member of Sustain Dane, so she's going to also talk a little bit about the benefits that that membership gets us, and it applies to all of you as well. And definitely, we'll be here afterwards to help if you have any questions or anything like that, and can share contact info as well. But yeah, just super excited to be here and share more about Sustain Dane. Lorenza's been there for over 7 years.
Yeah, 8 years.
8 years. So she's the expert. So she knows a lot more than I do. So she'll have all the answers to everything,
Thank
but
you.
I'll go ahead and pass it over to her.
Thank you, Sam. All right, yeah, I'm Lorenz Isabel, Program Director at Sustained. This is an awesome mic situation because I have a soft voice, so I'm feeling really like a pop star up here, Britney Spears. Um, who here has heard of Sustained? I'm just curious whenever oh, nice. Oh, that's awesome. Great, Sam, you're doing your job. Um, And yeah, I'll talk a little bit about our philosophy and what we do, and then I'll give some information on low waste living, because that tends to be a subject that people get into sustainability with waste. People really like talking waste and recycling. So yeah, at Sustained, we have programs, mostly educational programs that fall under these three categories: learning, connecting, and taking action. And again, they're all available to you guys as a member. So I'd encourage you to come hang out with us. I'll get into some of what they are in a moment. But our belief in sustainability, our definition is you can see it visually through this little circle thing that I made. We believe in a healthy environment that supports equity and social well-being, which in turn supports a just economy. And you also may have heard that described as environment, equity, and economy, or people, planet, profit. It's like the triple bottom line in business. So instead of just caring about the economic reason for things, you're also expanding that to care about people and the environment and the systems that support us. Is this mic sounding okay? Oh, a little too close. Thank you. I've never used one of these before. And to me, I sound like kind of crazy either way. So, oh, is that better? Yeah? You can hear me? Okay, cool. Glad we fixed that. Um, so our programs from last year include education workshops on things like waste, water, um, or specialty subjects like I did a bilingual Spanish, English, energy efficiency program. It's really whatever the community needs, whatever people are asking us for. And we also do project implementation. So I go out and assist businesses, nonprofits, municipalities with their sustainability projects. And that really ranges from, again, energy efficiency, transportation related projects, solar projects, sometimes even design projects. I helped design a sign for your church to talk about these solar awnings that you guys have. Uh, sign coming soon, from what I hear. And we have a powerful teen leaders program that's a workforce training program for at-risk youth in on the north side of Madison. And we're in our third year of that this year. Food scraps collection, the program that Sam manages. So, there's you can compost food scraps at home, but if you don't have that available to you, or you'd rather have someone else deal with it, you can come to some of our sites. We have 3 this year, maybe expanding, and they're at farmers markets. And actually, Sam, probably have you talk about it in a second because you've got the mic. We also do school sustainability. So many people are surprised to hear that our local schools often don't recycle. So we're really working hard to get recycling into cafeterias specifically, and also food scraps recycling into these cafeterias. or composting. And then in addition to our education workshops and our like public events for connection and learning about sustainability, we have the summit. It's our biggest day of the year. We hold it at the Monona Terrace Community Convention Center, and it's just a lovely day. It's we have a keynote speaker that we usually fly in from somewhere else to talk about something under the umbrella of sustainability, and there's a lot of time to talk about things that matter to you and connect with other people about sustainability in the Dane County region. So yeah, Sam, do you want to describe this a little?
Thanks. Um, so I manage our food scraps collection program, and like Lorenza said, this happens at farmers markets. So it spans the farmers market season. So actually starting up pretty quick. The first one starts April 29th, which is a Tuesday. So we have two markets on Tuesdays. It's the East Side Farmers Market in McPike Park, and then the South Farmers Market that's off of Park Street by the Madison Labor Temple. And then we also expanded to a Saturday option last year, and that's at the West Side Community Market, which would be probably the closest one to here. It's at Research Park in one of the parking lots of, I think it's like an MG&E building. And so basically, we have a couple of Sustainably compost interns be your friendly faces at like this stand that we set up. We give you a free bucket that you can take home if you want, or you can use any bucket or container of your choosing. You bring your food scraps to us, and then we look through it a little bit, make sure everything's okay, no contamination wise, dump it into our larger totes. You can see a good example of what we get at some of our farmers markets on the right. And then we bring it to a farm in Fitchburg, Neighborhood Food Solutions Farm. And Robert Pierce is the farm owner there, and he composts all of it on site, uses it to grow produce there, and then he actually sells produce at the South Madison Farmers Market off of Park Street. So if you really want to see the program full circle, we're just set up right next to him on Tuesday afternoons at the South Madison Farmers Market. So it's really cool. You could drop off your food scraps, walk 10 feet, and buy produce that was grown in those food scraps that you dropped off. So yeah, we're really excited for this program. It continues to grow. Last year we collected over 31,000 pounds of food scraps. And most of the food scraps, the three farmers markets, it's pretty much the whole season. So like end of April, the south one starts beginning of June, all the way through October. And this is weekly. We're there every single week. You could drop by as much or as little as you want. And then also we're just sharing about other sustained in programs, and our interns are always there to help answer questions and whatnot. But our goal, we've had the fun thing about this. We haven't had an animal weight to help like visualize our goal. So the first year was hippopotamuses. So we were trying to get the weight of two hippos, and we surpassed that goal. And then last year it was woolly mammoths, and we were trying to get two of those, and we surpassed that goal. And then this year we're doing a herd of bison. So 20 bison at 2,000 pounds each for a goal of 40,000 pounds. So we would love your help in reaching that goal and spreading the word about it. So I can send specifics. We'll probably put something in the weekly moments too once the markets open up, but happy to answer questions at the end.
Nice. Thank you, Sam. And thank you for running such a popular, cool program. Really proud that Sustainably got into this. And also, one of Sam's projects, we work together to put on 4 sustainable breakfast series throughout the year. And that they are a chance, it's like the summit, but small. It's just 1 hour, chance to meet people that care about sustainability and learn a little bit together. So the past 4 topics that we've had was our Leap Forward in Transit, where we talked about resources to get you taking the bus or riding a bike or walking, carpooling more frequently. And then also someone from the city of Madison talked about the bus rapid transit program and the success that it's had. And then the last 3 from last year were Bird Friendly Future, where we talked about birds, of course, and bird safe glass, all sorts of things. And then Fashion with a Purpose, we talked about sustainable fashion and how to kind of um, shift gears from fast fashion and what the impact of fast fashion has had on our environment. And then we had one called Healing Our Climate Anxiety. So that was really about kind of bringing mindfulness into your daily life so that you can kind of ease the pain that thinking about these existential crises that are real and happening uh, yeah, to ease the burden of feeling that, especially when you're someone that's really passionate about it or working on it. So kind of anti-burnout. And yeah, it was lovely. These are a great chance to meet people, talk, and they're totally open to you as members. So I would love to see your faces there. And these are just some photos from our summit because I want you all to come. It's a fun day. That's one of our keynote speakers from a few years ago. She talked about building power in social activist movements. And then we have awards every year. Those are our awardees from 2 years ago. And we had a piece of art too. We always have something fun and interactive for the day. Now I have a video. Hopefully it works for us, but this is just kind of our impact from last year so you can get a better picture of what we do in the community.
So I love coming to the Sustainable Breakfast Series because I'm always learning new things and I'm meeting new people and finding out all the really exciting, innovative aspects of sustainability and what different people and different organizations are doing. I'm just amazed oftentimes at what I see.
Yeah, I think that for nonprofits, being able to collaborate and like build resources as a community is really important. And Sustained Dane events really allow us to connect with each other and learn together about how we're going to do things as a community.
This building is so improved from before the project this past summer. You guys got us heat pumps in 2 of the units. Those tenants are so happy because they're saving money on heat and air conditioning and electricity. And then you got us, the insulation work is phenomenal. I saw the before and after. It's unbelievable the beautiful work that you guys did. And then we also got bathroom fans in all the bathrooms, these beautiful new high quality fans. Our tenants are just so pleased with the beautiful work that you guys did. And I'm thankful that their bills are gonna be lower and that we are saving energy in general.
Hello, my name is Kiki. I really enjoyed my time in this program. I learned more about people I don't think I would have never met if I wasn't in this program. I learned about careers and opportunities I feel so lucky to have knowledge about and more. If it wasn't for Kenai and Marcus, I would not have even learned even more hands-on skills that would set me ahead in the future, so thank you for that. I honestly wish that the program had been longer or we had more days. Time with everyone here today and the memories I now hold, I wish I could have more of.
Yeah, we really love the composting program here. It's a good way for us to donate our scraps and not having us, fill up our trash cans and have things go into the landfill that don't need to be there. So we really appreciate you all being here every week.
Great. Okay. I hope you were able to hear that. And I'm glad I played it because I forgot to talk about a really important program, the Efficiency Navigator one. So you saw Denise talking about that. We get energy efficiency into multifamily, naturally occurring affordable housing. So that means it's not technically affordable housing, but it is affordable and it exists that way on its own, if that makes sense. Um, and we get, yeah, energy efficiency, anything from insulation to, like she was saying, bathroom fans, to sometimes bigger, kind of shinier projects like an air source heat pump in one building last year. And yeah, it just keeps growing. It's a great program. And that kind of stuff is less visible than our education programs, but we are doing, that's the take action part of Sustain Dane. Okay, so because you guys asked me to talk a little bit about one subject, I don't have time to talk about everything under the umbrella of sustainability because that really touches everything. I thought I'd talk a little bit about low waste living. This is a segment from my most popular program, the Recycle Better program. People love recycling, and there's a lot of misinformation about recycling out there. So I put together this program with the city of Madison back in 2021, I think. And in it, we talk about the ins and outs of recycling, why it works the way it does, and specific materials like literally participants will bring in something like a container and say, is this recyclable? And I'll explain why or why not. But then in the second part of that program, I talk a little bit about low waste living because really recycling is just one part of the waste puzzle. And there's a lot of ways you can reduce consumption in your life and make it kind of a practice for you if you're someone who cares about recycling. So 17.6% of what goes into our recycling bins in the city of Madison is actually trash. So there's room for improvement there. You know, that's a number that is a little bit worse than average in the US. I think the average is 15% right now. So we're not doing that bad, but we could we could do a little better. And I wonder if what percent, if you could guess, what percent of material in the landfill could be recycled? Just give me a random number. Like, so this is stuff that we throw away that is actually recyclable. It's better than that. Luckily, it is 13%. But that's still a lot. That's a lot of stuff. It's valuable resources that we are throwing out instead of keeping in the circular economy is what it's called, when you can reuse those valuable items and make new items out of them. Yeah, I can tell you about some of the common things that they see at the recycling plant. They call it contamination. And some really common ones are plastic film. So like a Ziploc bag, imagine that, a plastic that you can rip apart with your fingers. That is not recyclable in our system. It really isn't in most systems. You need a special outlet for it. So some places that accept it, it's also called LDPE, or number 4 plastic. And grocery bags are also that. So you can't put grocery bags in your recycling, but you can put them in certain drop-off programs that happen at like Festival Foods or Hy-Vee. It's usually a grocery store. And usually they don't care if you also put other flexible plastics, plastic films in there with your grocery bags. I do it all the time, never gotten yelled at. Great question. I think there will be a lot of questions about materials maybe. So we could save that to the end and I'd be happy to talk forever about like, is this or is this not recyclable? And one other thing I like to mention is, because they're very serious about it at our recycling facility, batteries. Keep batteries out of your recycling. Just because you've heard that they're recyclable doesn't mean they go in your cart. And batteries for things like hearing aids are a lithium ion battery, and they can start fires very easily. They hold residual charge, and then they can spark very easily. And then you can imagine in our recycling with all that paper, it's a really dangerous situation. And the people that work at recycling facilities want me to tell you, don't put your batteries in there. They can't go in your trash either. So they have to be taken to a drop-off site or to a place like Batteries Plus. we'll also accept them. Yeah, okay. So this is my new favorite thing. For so long, I've been wanting something like this. And even if you don't live in the city of Madison proper, it's a really useful tool to see if your items are or are not recyclable. You would just have to ignore some of the things, like say you live in Middleton, you would have to ignore certain things like the city of Madison drop-off site is not your drop-off site, but you can type anything in there and it'll give you a pretty good idea of if you can put it in your cart or not. Because no one can memorize it. It's just way too complicated. Even I have to reference, we call it the Recyclopedia. I have to reference it all the time, and I've been talking about this for 4 years, you know? So, and we'll send this out in the follow-up probably, so if you miss it now, you'll get it later. Oh, usually I make people guess these, but rethink, refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, rot, recycle. So rot is compost. It's just another R word so that we can make them all match. So that's rethinking the actions that brings more stuff into your home, refusing items that you don't need, reducing the amount or frequency that you use certain items, reusing what you already own, repairing things instead of throwing away, rotting your food scraps, and then finally recycling. And so this is in order of its environmental impact. Recycling still has an environmental impact. So even more sustainable would be to rethink the whole situation, refuse stuff like straws, reduce the amount you use them, etc., before you get down to recycling. Not to say it's bad, it's great, but it does have some environmental impact associated with it. Okay, and I want to say I'm not trying to be a garbage scold here. You know, I'm really just giving some ideas for a low waste lifestyle. No one's perfect. I'm certainly not. You should come look at my recycling bin or trash bin. Yeah, no one's perfect, and it's really hard to avoid waste altogether. You may have heard about zero or low waste from this jar. Or a jar like it. This one in particular is Jessica Singer's. She was a zero waste advocate, and it was her total trash for 4 years. Yeah, kind of crazy. And it sets the bar really high, right? You look at that and you're like, no way, not my kitchen trash, no. Um, but and I love it as like a concept, but we don't have to reach that level. I think doing things imperfectly, if we're all doing them, is much better than just Jessica getting her waist down to this jar. And really, it's just not a feasible lifestyle for a lot of people. It takes a lot of work to get there. Yeah, all right. So before I get to some more of those tips, I want to note that living like a more consumption conscious lifestyle doesn't have to mean restriction in that way. You don't have to fit it in the jar. And it doesn't mean giving up like beautiful things or what you love. And many of the changes that I've personally made in my life have actually led to a fuller, richer life rather than a more restricted one. You know, I think a lot of people get into this and they think, oh, I just gotta stop doing all these things and have less and kind of like become a monk or a hermit in the mountains. But it's not like that. You can be living in society and having a beautiful life. So for example, shopping secondhand and vintage for your wardrobe and homewares. There's some really beautiful things, very well-made things that have lasted through time that you can find at a thrift store. And having a garden, very, very beautiful, enriching. I'm terrible at it, but it is beautiful. And it's, yeah, local food is great. Crafting things out of waste materials, that's a little rug being made out of plastic film in the corner there. There's a great place, if you haven't heard of it, the Textile Arts Center. They have a reuse, like a reuse resale day where you can buy craft supplies that was previously someone else's. And what is my last example here? Oh, getting unpackaged foods at farmers markets. What is more beautiful than a farmers market? You know, all the rainbow colors. It's really not restricting you. It's kind of adding more to your life. And just find what feels right for you. You know, some things might feel like a burden, and you don't have to do those things. Just find what fills your life with more joy. Okay, so here are the tips. Reduce. Can the amount or frequency you use something be reduced? A great example of this, I think, that we all kind of suffer from is online shopping. Because for most people who use it, it is a convenience, and not 100% necessary most of the time. With the pandemic, we saw many people increase their online shopping. For health and safety reasons, of course, which is totally understandable. But in these years following, I've been trying to encourage people to kind of look at those habits, reassess, and maybe go back to buying things more locally. And I like to put this fact in here because it's kind of shocking. Amazon alone was responsible for millions of pounds of basically unrecyclable plastic packaging. In 2023, they had enough of those plastic film pillows that come in those boxes, those like air-filled pillows, to go around the earth over 100 times. The entire earth. That's a lot of plastic film, which we already know you can't put in your recycling bin. So yeah, just one of those things where can you reduce the amount you shop online and go places in person? Reuse. This is where a lot of people's minds go when they think low waste or zero waste. It can be helpful if you're just getting started to kind of just look at the single-use plastics in your life. Where do you use them? Bags, grocery bags, utensils when you eat out, straws. In Madison, they're not places of business are not supposed to give you a straw. They have to ask. I know not everybody follows that, but it's that little extra step, that option for you to say, I don't need a straw today. Water bottles, plastic wrap, coffee cups. Just use what you have in general. These things are really cute, right? Buying a new thing is very tempting, but remember, the whole point of it is to reduce consumption. So instead of the lovely bamboo portable silverware, maybe just take some from your kitchen cabinet. So reuse. Do you need other single-use items? Our world is filled with single-use items that were engineered to be single-use so that we would buy them more, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Things like towels, paper towels. Maybe you have some, the way I do it, I have some paper towels because I have 2 cats, so you never know. You might need a real paper towel. But then the rest of it is just reusable. And I find it much less annoying to have reusable because I don't have to constantly be buying those giant things of paper towels. Don't have to go to Costco every other week, Cleaning products, you can make them yourself. You can get them at a depackaged store, package-free store like Green Life Trading Company or Willie Street Co-op. Even Pick and Save has a bulk aisle in some Pick and Saves. Soaps, packaged foods, just look at everything that has packaging and say, hey, is there a way to do this without that? I recently got into dry beans. I know it's not, it's they've been around, but I find them way more delicious than the canned beans and way more like consistent. I can get like a really good dry bean, and so much easier to cook than I ever thought. So, take a look at your kitchen. Usually is where these things show up, kitchen and bathroom, and see if there's anything that you could reuse. Can you use someone else's stuff? I used to work at Good Style Shop, so I put this in there. But buying secondhand, community reuse markets. My friends just threw a party that you brought clothes. It was like a clothing swap party. And I came with a bunch of stuff that I didn't want anymore, but you never know where it goes when you donate it, or you don't always know. Sometimes it ends up in the landfill regardless. So it's nice to know that my friend has it now and someone is reusing it. Oh. Also, there's a lot of places online that you can do this stuff if you don't have friends that are into that. Craigslist isn't used as much anymore, but there's the Buy Nothing Project, which has local chapters that you can join groups of on Facebook, or I've also seen it on Instagram, where people will post a thing that they don't want anymore for free, and then you can just come and pick it up. Also, you can get rid of your things that way, and then you know it's going to someone that actually wants to use it. I just be safe when you're posting on the internet. Also, Zero Waste Madison, you don't have to be in Madison proper. You can be living in Middleton. It's a great group for not just for exchanging things, but also for tips on zero waste living and a cute community, really nice people. Repair. So it's an art that is kind of lost to time, I think. I need to repair this sweater. There's a giant hole I noticed this morning. Um, learning simple repairs can really enrich your life, you know? Just sewing a button back on, uh, renting or fixing your bike, learning how to fix your bike. There's coming up spring roll in April. There's like a challenge in Dane County for you to bike or walk or carpool as much as you can. And they also have a bunch of events that teach you how to fix your own bike, which is such a useful skill to have. You can rent tools if you don't have them. Try out a makerspace. We took an awesome tour of the Bodgery, an amazing, huge warehouse where you can learn woodworking, you can learn ceramics, stained glass, metalworking. It's like anything that you can craft, you can learn there. And 3D printing, they've got everything. So if you go in with like a broken appliance and there's a little plastic piece that you wouldn't be able to fix, they can 3D print you the plastic piece and fix your toaster or something. And if you don't want to do it, hire someone, you know, a seamstress to fix your clothes or to alter them, or of course, clean it. My grandma was a cleaning lady, and I always think of her. She says it's not broken, you just need to scrub it. It just needs a good scrubbing. And that's very true in my life. And then refuse. So why do we buy things? It's almost an emotional thing when you dig into it for most people. Because we have what we need often. We have a lot in the US. Many of us do, most of us anyway. So like, and I'm not here to be a garbage scold again, or like a consumption scold. I don't want anyone to feel guilt or shame about this, but I do like to say, take a look at why you buy things. Is it because marketing is telling you that it'll make your life better, you know? Like what is missing there? And can you fill it with something else like community connection? You know, you guys probably already have that figured out. You're here on a Sunday with your friends, but can you fill that absence with something that is a renewable resource, you know? Love, joy, friends, family. All right, so that's the end of my talking points today. We like to say change happens when inspired people take action, so I hope I inspired you a little bit to reduce your waste. And if you want to learn the ins and outs of recycling, I am putting on the full thing. It's 2 nights in April, so I think it's April 15th and 27th or something like that. That sounds about 17th, 24th. Good job, Sam. This is why we hired you. Yeah, and I'm open to taking any questions, and Sam as well, if you have food scrap questions. Yeah.
What does Midvale belonging to Sustain Dane mean?
Yeah, so you're a part of our community. You are welcome at all of our events for free. They always have a little charge for the public, and that's really just to get people to show up, you know, because they value it more. If there's a little bit like a $10 fee. But yeah, as members, you can attend any of these events like this upcoming recycling event. We also have a business-related workshop on April 11th called Accelerate Sustainability. If you have a business, work somewhere, know someone who does, I'd encourage you to come. That's at Goodman Community Center, and that would be free for you. And it also means access to we're like a connector. So if you want to know another church that has done a solar program, we can connect you with that. Or now that you have, you're a mentor in my mind. If someone comes to me with that question, I will direct them to you guys. So yeah, it means a lot of things. It means whatever you want it to mean. Sam, am I missing anything?
So I go to the farmer's market and I'm going to buy some beans or some peas. And what does the seller do? Puts them in a plastic bag.
Right.
So how do we get around that?
That is great. I uh, I would say when I go to the farmer's market, I try to bring my own bags. Um, but if you can't, recycling is always an option. You know, you can save those up and take them to one of the drop-off sites. But also, you can strike up a conversation, keep it positive. We don't like to shame about waste, but strike up a conversation with the farmer. Maybe, you know, they're also interested in it. Maybe they would take if you've got a bunch of those reusable grocery bags left, you could donate them to them and they could use them. Um, and then for me, my vision for that would be compostables. I really believe in those bioplastics because so many people find that habit really hard to break. And so having a lookalike that does the same thing, but then you can throw it in the compost is ideal for me. They are very expensive right now, but more people using them will mean the price goes down and farmers market stands can start to use them.
So in the food scrap program,
Yeah.
any food scraps, like even bones, can that go into
Can bones go in our program?
well, the one we're part of, they can. That's why I'm asking if you.
Oh, do you use green box compost? Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
boyfriend. Shout out. Um, yeah, they can accept a lot more than we can. So I don't know. Do we
Yeah.
accept?
So yeah, for food scraps at our farmers markets, those 3 locations that go to Neighborhood Food Solutions Farm in Fitchburg, it's much more limited because it's not an industrial size compost. It's just compost piles at his farm. So it is really just food scraps. That's why we like purposefully labeled it that way. So it's like your extra carrot peels if you're skinning them, or potato skins, like any fruit or vegetable scraps, and then like coffee grounds, eggshells, but we cannot take meat, dairy, bones, that sort of thing. So it's just kind
Got
of
it.
the more scraps before you make the prepared food, and then once it's prepared food, that cannot go to these community farmers market spots, but it can go in a green box situation.
Cool. Thank you, Sam, the expert.
How do you or can you recycle the plastic things that food is delivered to you in or that you get takeout?
Yeah, great question. We all have those sitting around. It really depends on the item. So what I say for plastic containers, plastic containers, all the numbers are technically recyclable except for styrofoam. So styrofoam never recyclable. In fact, it's banned from the landfill, so you have to clean it off, save it up, and take it to a drop-off site. Most people don't know that, don't do that, but best to avoid because it's really a toxic material that's not good to eat out of either. But if you have like those clear plastic containers, rinsing them out, making sure they're clean and dry, those can go in the recycling. Also, those kind of like almost frosted containers, again, clean and dry. And plastic things, if you keep the lid on, they'll be recycled like that. If you take the lid off, they're generally too flat and they will contaminate the paper recycling stream. So best to keep the lid on, or if you've misplaced the bottom and you just have the lid, toss it in the garbage. But it really, I mean, all plastic containers, number 1 through number 7, are recyclable. So just containers is the thing. And it really kind of depends on the exact thing. But as long as it's 3-dimensional, you should be good.
And then we have a question online.
Oh, yeah.
If you know the percentage off the top of your head or the estimate, what percentage of recycled items are actually recycled in Madison?
Oh, in Madison, we are really lucky. We have Pelletary, one of the best material recovery facilities in the country. They hang on to our stuff and wait. As long as it's not contaminated, if it is recyclable, they will wait to find a buyer for it. And so I'd say 100%. But there's a lot of recyclable material that's contaminated, and those are the trucks that you see going from Pelletary to the landfill, because there is stuff that, yeah, that's that 17% that we accidentally put in there that we shouldn't.
I just thought I'd add real quick. You asked what is the benefit for our church to be a member. I joined Sustain Dane really on my own first, and then through my work joined, and then I saw benefits, and Sam became a member of our Care for Creation, and so I thought it would be, we promoted it because I think it's helped my work come up with ideas to promote sustainability at my office. And we're trying to incorporate, and we're learning a lot by being members and showing up at the meetings. So hopefully we'll bring more ideas in, and we're open to hearing new ideas too. But one example is the green box. That was through a Sustain Dane breakfast program where I learned about green box and food scraps, blah, blah, blah. And now my company is using green box. And so we are looking at, definitely composting more at our church footprint, but also ways that we can encourage the members to know more about that, and possibly maybe bringing compost to our church food scraps. But that's a kind of a bigger question with a lot of the questions. But I guess the point is that it's the awareness and learning what other churches or businesses are doing. I think it's a huge benefit for being members.
Thank you, Karen. I love that. We call that the ripple effect. That's really what we're trying to do. The ripple effect of friends telling friends about things. What you learn, you spread across the community. Yeah. Another question?
Would you just walk through the plastic bags? That's the one that gets me. What can I put in what?
Yeah, plastic bags are that plastic film. So they're, because you can rip them apart with your fingers, you can't put them in your recycling. And the reason for that is the sorting machines at the materials recovery facility, Pelletary, they have all these like turning points. And so the plastic bags will get caught in those, and they gum up the machines. They have to shut it down, get a person in there to cut out the plastic. So for a while they were accepting them if you bagged them up as big as a basketball, for many years actually. But then it just got to the point where they were breaking down the machines too much. So now they don't accept it. But you can save them up and take them to a drop-off site or to a grocery store that does have a program. Usually, most of them do these days, and usually it's just a big, like, cardboard box outside of their the front of the grocery store. Someone should compile a list of all the stores that accept them. Yeah, they do. Well, I don't know about every program, because it's all different. Recycling's different everywhere, even Middleton to Madison, a little bit of difference sometimes, like the drop-off sites, for example. But for most of those programs, they're working with a company called Nextrex. And Nextrex makes plastic lumber out of that. So it's a single buyer, a single company that is accepting those, which is really interesting to me. They changed the market, Now there's a market for those things. It's a valuable resource again.
So when you have items of clothing,
Yeah.
you just put those in the trash if they're not good enough to take to like a Goodwill or Salvation Army.
Yes.
We struggle with that.
I struggle with that too. That's a tough question. When she's asking when there's clothes that are not really wearable anymore, like they're kind of rags, like socks. Often I get questions about socks, and I do know that St. Vincent de Paul, at least, they say you can bring it and they will send it to a textile recycler. They try to. They're not always able to find a buyer for those things, and they don't want everybody to be giving them their garbage clothes because we've got a lot, right? And with clothing, really the best practice is to rewind and at the beginning of the process, when you're buying it, asking if you need it, because I think we all have too many, myself included. And for me, it's mostly secondhand, because for years that has just been my lifestyle, but even still, I've got a lot. So I can always, just reuse what I have until they become the rags. And then usually, it does end up in the landfill, unfortunately. One day I would love to see a market like that Nextrex pop up. Some places they make insulation out of it. So you can send it to a company and they'll make insulation. If you really, really care, about that issue particularly. There's a company called TerraCycle. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I know that you can recycle textiles through them. They'll send you a box and you can mail it back. I don't know about the environmental impact of that. I would say best avoided, but you know, if you really, really care, you could do like a clothing drive or something. Yeah.
I have a couple of things to say. One, we just learned about the St. Vincent fabric collection. And I think that is really, I realize I don't want a lot, but I just had recently some flannel sheets that are torn to the part where I can't repair them anymore. But this is a huge piece of fabric that's going to either go in the landfill or it could go there, and it would be stuffing or it would be fabric that they could use. So I think we should really encourage people to at least talk to them about it and try to do that. Lots of clothing that is, you can't give to Goodwill because
Goodwill won't accept it.
you just can't, they're not going to sell it. They're not going to be able to use it, but it still has volume in it and it is stuff that you need. The other thing I wanted to say is that my daughter gave me some time ago, and I don't use them as often as I should, but a whole series of really thin film bags for produce. They're really, really light. You can actually take them to the grocery store and put your lettuce in them or put it, whatever it is. And if they're light enough that they don't make a difference in the weight.
Yes, I have those too, if I remember them.
I know, that's my problem too. But it is a way to get rid of some of them. The one piece that I have the most problem with is that most bakery goods or anything like that you want to buy is in this hard clamshell plastic. And I just seem to get a lot of that, and I don't want it. And there ought to be a way to buy bakery without it, but I don't know what it is.
Is it like clear clamshell with like the two little rectangles that snap together? That is recyclable. So at least if it's clean and dry, you can recycle it. So yeah. And sometimes it is hard to avoid, would be better to get things unpackaged. And I think it's always an option to talk to your favorite spots. Like, hey, you guys could start using these paper boxes or, but always in a positive way.
Yeah, or if like the place you're going to like has like they're doing the bakery in-house there, like maybe talking to one of the bakery workers, like for instance, like at like Metcalf's when I stop by there, like they bake a lot of their goods in-house. So maybe it's talking with them and saying like, hey, what are the possibilities like to put it in paper, or if they have any back there behind the counter and you can bring your own bag. I think it's always worth a conversation to ask.
I was just curious, are you or your organization or others involved with the hospitals in the area and the rehab facilities? And I heard you mention finally the schools are thinking about it.
Well, we do have active programs in some of the schools. And that's actually a SAM program again. Wow, you're doing everything. But yeah, back to the hospitals. So on our board, Tom Thompson from UW Health, he is their kind of like waste and sustainability manager. And he's worked really hard because it's a difficult industry to reduce waste in, because a lot of it is necessary for health and hygiene. And there's actually some regulation around some of it. But they have a great program where they have like 4 different bins and they can sort the different pieces of these, like, oh gosh, I wish I could think of an example, but like little cups that medicine would be put in, those go in a certain bin. And they have separate kind of recycling practices there. And then also they work with Greenbox. So not only does Greenbox do residential, but they do pickups for businesses, including large businesses like UW Health. So their food scraps go to Greenbox to be composted.
And nursing homes and rehab facilities and apartments such as in the Triangle, where it's primarily elderly and or disabled people. It's very complicated, this whole, recycling. It's beyond complicated.
I would love to come talk to someone if you know someone or
I'm just saying, it's so complicated.
Yeah.
And it's ever changing.
True.
And it takes, it's not an easy thing. And if you have children and you're raising young children, And I wonder what the percentage is of people who are more involved in the recycling if they're don't have children, or if they're single, or if their children are grown. Those are demographics I'd be really interested in.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we did. We have talked with Attic Angels community. We did a presentation there, and then they actually were inspired to join as members. They have like a sustainability committee within Attic Angels, so they like organize Sustain Dane and a couple others to come on a panel and talk there with their community members. And then you've had one on the east side, that community that you've
Yes.
talked with multiple times. I'm forgetting the name, but like
I'm about
basically like, go there every year and like give a recycling presentation. Just like you said, it's complicated, but I feel like we try to put it into bite-sized pieces, and then maybe you can just take those couple things that impact your daily use items, so the things you're using most frequently, to take that piece with you.
Yeah.
As far as schools go, yes, it's shocking. They should all be recycling. So currently we have some grant funding that we're trying to do a district-wide Madison School District policy that it's required to them to recycle in their cafeterias. We found that we get grant funding, we start a recycling program in a school. It goes great. It's mainly in elementary schools, and like the elementary kids, they get it. Like once you tell them to do, they're dumping out their milk cartons, they're recycling them, they're not putting that much like food or contamination in their recycling bins. It's really a staff perspective that doesn't allow for the success of the program. So usually it's like turnover rates within cafeteria staff with janitors, that once a new janitor comes in, they're like, oh, I didn't do this at my old school, so I don't need to do it here, because there's no policy in place that it's required for them to do it. So that's what we're working on right now, is we're working with the Madison School District. They actually just hired for the first time a sustainability position. So her role is dedicated to doing sustainability work in the district. So working directly with her and some folks in facilities to try to get that policy in place so that it is required, because the kids are the future generation. We want them to be recycling and maybe composting at a young age. They even like get so excited that they bring it home and like tell their parents about it. They're just great resources to spread the word. So
Yeah.
we're trying, and also shocked that it hasn't been put in place yet.
I have a question on, excuse me, plastic bottles,
Yeah.
the caps. Are they recyclable? Do you leave them on?
If you leave them on, plastic bottle caps are recyclable. If they come off, they're too small. So the rule of thumb is 3 inches by 3 inches. So a Post-it note, a sticky note. If it's smaller than that, it's not recyclable. It goes in the trash. So that little cap is only recyclable if it's on the bottle. Yeah. Yeah, same. Pill bottles are just the exact right size that they do get recycled. Yeah. Make sure you take your information off of them, though. You never know. Yeah.
Your first slide had a young person doing something with an electric meter.
Yeah.
What was going on there?
That's our Powerful Teen Leaders program. So we're training, I think it's our 3rd year. We train about a group of about 10 to 15 kids on the north side. We meet at the Warner Park Rec Center. And then they go all about Dane County learning about green jobs. And one of those, I guess, do you remember what that day was?
Yeah, I think it was at Madison College, and it was like their photovoltaic lab. So basically just learning about solar panels and kind of installing solar panels and what that career path could look like if they wanted to do that afterwards.
Yeah.
So I have a pet peeve about takeout food containers, and I always have leftover food, and it just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Is there any rules about bringing your own Tupperware or whatever to bring home food? Because sometimes I think there's not a rule against that. I
That's
could bring my
great-
own Tupperware.
Great question.
Okay.
You can. Yes. Yeah. And there's no rule against bringing a reusable to a restaurant. And I've never had anyone upset at me about it. In fact, usually I get really happy feedback from the servers, like, oh, cool. And they don't even have to know. You can just do it at your table. And additionally, I like to add that restaurants can donate food. There's no law against it. If you know anyone that works in a restaurant, they can and should be donating their food to food pantries. And if you need a connection, I can make that connection to the people that can get it.
if you want to know that there's someone else out there that's taking their leftovers home in their own containers, we now carry leftover containers in the trunk of our car.
I love that.
Yeah. And I guess what I would ask too is that the more common it is, like the more people that are doing it, the restaurants aren't going to be like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I would say we've gotten, like you, Lorenza, have gotten really positive feedback about taking our own. So highly recommend.
Nice.
It's something you can do with your washed out, clean plastic containers as
Yeah,
well.
totally.
So.
Reuse those plastic containers. Yeah. Yeah, my kitchen is full of really random plastic containers that just showed up in my life, and I've decided, okay, now they're mine. I have to use this. Any last
questions?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the work your creation care team does. It's great. Yeah.
No, we appreciate you all coming.
Oh yeah.
Karen and Meg are here too on the Care for Creation team. So if you have any questions or ideas to do projects in the church, definitely let us know, let the pastors know, and they can always pass it along, that sort of thing. And then I can be a connector point at Sustain Dane, and we can share Lorenza's info as well. Her email is just lorenza@sustaindane.org. But yeah, thank you for coming out and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.